After 4 entire years since the last title, Battlefield 6 is finally here. Just yesterday, the Battlefield 6 beta finally went into early access after years of waiting, months of leaks, and endless speculation. In a lot of ways, I think we all knew what to expect at this point: another attempted return to form as EA and the newly created Battlefield Studios double down on this nearly dead, decades-old franchise. While just a few weeks ago, Battlefield was all but a niche, practically free-to-play game with a few thousand players, today it's at the center of the gaming industry, with millions of fans tuning into the reveal, and hundreds of thousands of them jumping into the beta and creating such hype that within just hours, Battlefield 6's beta had over 50% of Call of Duty's all-time player population on Steam. So to say that the industry has been craving a new Battlefield is a bit of an understatement, as not just Battlefield fans but the gaming industry as a whole has been holding their breath awaiting the return of this once prolific juggernaut. But at the end of the day, once all the hype has faded, is Battlefield 6 actually any good? Well, after a day in early access, here's my first impressions, and not as an insider nor a sponsored streamer, but instead as a fan who's been here through thick and thin. So guys, like always, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's get into it. Now, jumping right in, the biggest praise I can give this game is that it actually fucking works, which, all things considered, is perhaps the biggest victory Battlefield has had since the 2042 beta all the way back in 2021. Even with hundreds of thousands of players queuing at the main menu before release, my experience has been that of rather stable servers with almost no waiting, no disconnects, and only a little bit of jitter or lag. While the beta certainly has its issues with minor things like textures popping, matchmaking times, and the occasional frame drop, overall it's been rather acceptable as a pre-release test, again light years ahead of their last beta. On top of that, I gotta mention it's refreshing to see EA host a beta that doesn't require pre-ordering, while instead opting to use the community itself as a way to get fans educated and signed up for the beta through a creator livestream program. So while all of this should be standard practice, it's nice to finally see EA catch up and start acting like the multi-billion-dollar developer that they are. But moving on into the meat and potatoes of this video, and I gotta say there's a ton here to digest after just one day with the game. It's really starting to feel like the deepest Battlefield we've ever had, with deeper weapon customization, more detailed maps, and more complex gameplay where mechanics like body dragging, corner peeking, and new age movement all culminates into a much more complex experience than fans have had in the past. And while I really enjoy some of these new and returning mechanics like crouch running, riding on tanks, and more abundant ways to resupply, there's a few little gripes I have with the game, as well as one much larger concern I'll get to at the end. First off, simply put, I don't think the game feels all that great on controller. Weapons feel floaty, aim curves seem to come and go, and when combined with the overly animated gunplay, it really culminates into something that feels hectic and jittery when compared to the more linear 2042 or the heftier Call of Duty. While there are some elements that feel great, like the snappiness of the hit markers, I honestly never feel confident when I enter a gunfight, both because of the controller input as well as what feels like some iffy hit reg. However, I gotta say, when you do land your shots, god damn does this game deliver. Now, this game is considerably higher skill than something like 2042, and I've only had a single day with it so far, but from my perspective, the controller input, Whether it be because of aim curves, aim assist, jarring animations, or simply bad hit reg, it just feels really inconsistent. But I suppose that's what this beta is for, so while I don't think it's amazing, there's still time for improvement. But moving neatly into my next gripe, I sort of feel that this hectic gunplay along with these new, dense, and dusty environments make player visibility nearly as bad as Battlefield 5. Now, I don't want to make a huge deal out of it because I know they fixed it in the past, and to be honest, it all looks and plays amazing, with the exception of Liberation Peak, which may already be the worst map in the game. But moving forward, player visibility really needs some love, especially because of the super quick time to death and endless animations.
Absolutely fucking invisible. There's no chance you'll ever see that.
Lastly, for my final minor gripe, I really think the devs need to consider a major reworking of the UI. While the menus are brutally non-intuitive on controller, the in-game notifications are also incredibly hard to understand on the fly, especially the horrid grenade indicator that's literally just a red dot that easily blends in with any sparks or fiery explosions around your screen. Things like that need a lot more craftsmanship with more recognizable iconography and menus that clearly display if you're locked into a tab or about to scroll between the entire interface. And aside from all that, while a lot of the UI and design language is crisp, it's all rather generic. Bringing in some of that punchy orange from their social media designs and adding a little more depth to the UI will really help this thing pop come launch day. But in general, aside from those gripes, Battlefield 6 is shaping up to be an absolutely massive step forward for the Battlefield franchise. Gunplay is dynamic, customization is shaping up to be much more vast, environments are more dense, and the sandbox already feels deeper with more destruction, ways to interact, and a more mature tone. However, like I said earlier, there's one thing I can't get off my mind. Battlefield 6 seems to not really know what it is. Is it a compelling, dramatic, hyper-real military shooter where you drag your buddy's body to safety and return fire through a series of beautifully crafted complex animations? Or is it a Call of Duty/Delta Force clone? A game that compels players to slide into gunfights, bunny hop corners, and crouch spam during exchanges. And the funny thing is, during my playtime, it really felt like the game was fighting itself, never really knowing how it wanted to be played. Enders actually made a comment about this recently, where he said the earlier builds had this new age movement, but ultimately things like crouching mid-gunfight would really punish the player. And from my personal experience, I've found it much more effective to slow down, be observant, and pick your shots, as moving quickly, especially on controller, seems to get me in a lot more trouble than it's worth. So in many ways, Battlefield 6 represents a strange juxtaposition of a more mature, desaturated, and grounded world with a real commitment to destruction and graphical fidelity, while also bringing the franchise forward with modern mechanics, updated gunsmith, player cosmetics, and new modes like a battle royale. But depending on who you are and what intrigues you about modern video games, Battlefield 6 could be rather divisive or your favorite Battlefield yet. I think EA and Battlefield Studios are really attempting a balancing act between modern FPS trends and the classic Battlefield formula, and so far I think they're stuck right in the middle. All the mechanics of modern twitchy shooters with the atmosphere of Battlefield, but all feeling a little disjointed. Funny enough, as we played, we kept calling out elements that reminded us of all sorts of different games, from Warzone to Medal of Honor. So all things considered, I'll say it like this. In its current state, Battlefield 6 has a ton of great features on either side of the equation. However, while I enjoy many aspects of the game, it doesn't seem like it's all blended up into a true Battlefield title. It feels like a collection of FPS's greatest hits. So all the parts are there, and many of them are great on their own, but between now and October, we gotta see Battlefield Studios put this puzzle together into one big, beautiful Battlefield. But guys, that's just my first impressions of a game I think is going to be with us for a long, long time. So be sure to drop your comments and tell me what you think below. And for everything else Battlefield, stay tuned and subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching.